Do you want to just start off, dear listeners, and just get straight into the questions, and then we can record an intro after, or do you want to get straight into do you want to go straight from the top, Alan?
I'll do the intro quick. I like massaging the ego of people that I respect, so I've no problem with that. So, welcome once again to another Coffee and Heroes podcast. I am delighted to be setting up another interview with a creator. Our guest today is no stranger to Coffee and Heroes. A year ago this month, he made the journey to our store and was greeted with a sold-out Q&A session, followed by what seemed like a non-stop signing and picture session that went on for nearly 3 hours, and he didn't complain once. He's worked for Marvel, DC, Valiant, and is described by his partner in crime, Tom Keane, as the single best artist working in comics today. Although I'm pretty sure Tom Keane says that about every artist he works with. It was an absolute privilege to host him then in what is still one of the proudest moments for the store, and it is wonderful to be able to catch up with him again now. Your host is always Alan. I'm joined by Keith.
How are you?
Joined by Roddy.
Hello.
And dear listeners, today we are talking with Clay Mann. So it is great to talk to you, sir. How have you been? I must say, you planned your trip around the world at the absolute best time. You managed to, travel around the world before the world was turned upside down. I have to say, how have you and the family been in 2020? It's certainly been quite the year.
Yeah, quite the year. I'm ready for. I'd like to just skip forward a couple years, close my eyes.
Yeah, and what about the family, Clay? Everybody adapting and doing all right. I mean, how have you coped and adapted to the lockdown and the restrictions and in work and in life in general? I mean, how are you keeping your head screwed on?
I feel like before I should answer is, how do you guys view it? Is it real over there? I live in Florida, so obviously 95% of people think it's fake. So.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that our government is any better than yours, or that our people are any more sensible. But certainly, there's more people wearing masks than not. People are obeying the restrictions for the most part. For example, I mean, we much prefer to sit down in the same room and record together, but we're not. We're recording over Skype and things like that. So yeah, I would say real. We've still got some conspiracy nuts that think it's fake, but for the most part, it's a real thing.
Yeah. So I mean, when it first started, I'm like, oh, this is nothing. Like, I draw all the time at home. I never have time for anything. I'm like, nothing's changing for me. So, but it was pretty rough to watch, people who aren't used to it. But like, it has gone on for a while now, and I'm definitely over it. But I take it very seriously, and I kind of don't understand how people don't. So, that's really my only problem with it. Is like, just wear a mask. I don't care. Just put the stupid mask on. I don't know.
It's not hard.
It's not hard, and it's like, it's also like, just I just get so angry. I could go on and on. It's gotta be the laziest. It's just the laziest thing in the world. Even if it's not true and you don't believe it, can you just make everyone feel at ease?
Yeah, it's about helping others, isn't it?
Well, we'll redirect the conversation away from the horrible nature of the world instead, and I'll let Roddy introduce some happier stuff instead.
Yeah, okay. Batman and Catwoman. It's real. It has a release date. How exciting is that for you after presumably is a year or two of work gone into that? How exciting is it to see it finally have a release day, be in previews? What's that feel like for you?
I mean, it's exciting for, I draw all the time and stuff, and it's not really fun for me until I see it colored and then printed. So I'm excited for it to start coming out. I do enjoy like reading what people think about it, and it feels real now. And I'm also every day now it's a step closer to finishing and
Mm.
which I'm not saying in a bad way, just like it's always nice. It's 12 issues. I've never done anything like that. It's gonna be rough, and in that way, I'm already looking forward to like looking back on it in a way.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm glad it's started and the ball's rolling now.
Yeah, I mean, you said last year that you were thankful to DC. It was one of the things that, you know, we almost saw it as a store exclusive breaking news during the Q&A, because the news had just come out that it was going to be slightly delayed because, you know, you wanted to do all 12 issues yourself. You were saying you felt like it was something really special. I mean, we've had pre-orders for it ever since that Q&A event, believe it or not. So as Roddy was just saying there, I was just curious, how far along were you with the art, just simply because with the lockdown and the delays and so forth? I mean, I'm a DC guy through and through, and Doomsday Clock was, you know, it was hard to take as a DC fan because there was such quality there, but the release scheduling was just really upsetting, both as a store and as a fan. And we're currently getting something like Three Jokers, which is now coming out consistent as gravity and is a really great piece of work. So, you know, are you now far enough along in this because of the delays in the world that, you know, the release schedule will just be monthly, and you hopefully don't feel as much pressure, I would guess, because of having a little more time?
No, I feel plenty of pressure. When this whole thing started, like the pandemic, there was a part of me that was like selfishly thinking, and then when DC stopped, like, you know, putting out books for a little bit, you know, I think maybe a lot of people thought it would help, but it didn't. You know, I don't have kids and stuff, but like I'm watching other guys with kids and bigger families and they've got kids at home, and, you know, just their lives are interrupted. Like, it's just not as simple as one would think. And for me, I have a hard time drawing when I have things on my mind that I feel like are more important. And so no, it didn't really help, the pandemic. When the book was first announced for, I think, last January, I knew that was never going to happen. And from day one, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, like, and I don't think I don't know if people know, but I'll just tell you, like, also the book takes place from, I don't know if it's from, but it only takes place around December to New Year's. So the whole story. So then when January wasn't going to happen and they were trying to push me for like summer, this makes no sense to me to do a book where there's like Christmas decorations and snow, and, you know, I'm like, why rush me and not just put it out next December so all 12 issues end in December again? Like, to me, it just, I don't know, that was my, plus I did want more time on the book, but I just thought it made more sense for like the theme of the book. Yeah, but no, it's going to be a gruesome year for sure.
That's interesting to hear, Clay, because I sort of have a reputation of being a wee bit of a Christmas grump, and does that mean I'm going to have to be looking at snow and Christmas decorations for the whole year?
No, I would say winter maybe. But no, there's definitely Christmas stuff in it. Yeah, maybe you will get grumpy.
He doesn't need an excuse anyway, so don't worry about that. But I think that's really interesting, actually, with the release scheduling. It actually puts in mind something like The Long Halloween, which, you know, was released at certain holidays and to coincide with it and so forth, and it took place over a year. So I actually think that's, you know, really, really smart idea and a really easy way to tie it in, because even the preview imagery we've seen so far, as you say, it's all snow based and, you know, very winter wonderland sort of style. So
yeah,
right. And I know no one's gonna care, like, in the middle of the summer. It doesn't, like, I guess someone could say it doesn't make sense to like launch it in December, but it makes sense to me. So
yeah, I can see the sense.
Yeah, it's cool symmetry.
I think Jim Lee even said when he posted his variant cover that, like, he drew snow in it, and I think even he commented on it. It's nice to draw snow and knowing the book is coming out in the winter or something.
Yeah, I mean, you touched upon it there. Obviously, the pause in the industry, that maybe the perception is that would have helped, but obviously there's very real world problems on top of that. I mean, It's a really interesting thing. I mean, the pause in the industry, it actually helped our store in a way, and I know a lot of stores are struggling in the aftermath, certainly this side of the world. We sort of felt sorry for ourselves for a week or two, and then we decided, we've spent a long time building this store. We're going to try and take advantage of the time. So, we got a website built and added new bits and pieces. So we sort of changed the idea of what the store was a little bit. And I was just curious with the extra time that you guys were afforded, did the story change in any way? Like, was there constant polishing of it, of we can improve this, or was it very sort of stuck in place in terms of the story and the structure?
No, I don't remember anything changing at all. Yeah, Tom's like super far into it. I'm obviously not as far. But no, I don't remember anything changing at all. I'm just like, even when the pandemic hit and DC stopped doing the books, like I was like so happy. It sounds selfish too, but I was also like extremely happy that we didn't rush a launch or anything like that, because then I'm like, I don't want it to stop and like halt. And I would rather the book be coming out when things were a little more settled and understood how you would go forward in like this pandemic and stuff.
So Clay, were you actually told, the whole like pencils down thing, or did you carry on with it? Was it just so important to get it done, or were you actually told to stop, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't know anybody at DC who was told to stop drawing personally. I was never. We got emails like privately that said that won't be happening and just keep going. And yeah, I was never. They were pretty good about that. I mean, it's kind of nervous when Marvel did it, or I don't know. I really don't know what was in order, but I remember hearing about it, and yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. But part of me, it was also like, well, I don't really know why it would affect me, because I'm doing a book that wouldn't even be coming out anyway. So they'd be paying me to work behind the scenes anyway. So I never really thought it would happen. No pencils down.
Well, that's good to hear. Tell me a bit about, so like kind of on a day-to-day basis, what is your collaboration look like? For Backcap, but you can tell me about other collaborators too. Do you just work off the script, or do you bounce off ideas? Do you get to change a lot of things, or do you just kind of go as it is on the script?
I mean, I try to go what's off in the script, because I'm also like, I know my job, so I try to stick in my lane. I don't want Tom bossing me around about things in my art. But when we started, there was like, the book is 22 pages, and we had an idea that I had an idea that I threw to Tom, like maybe he could just write 20 pages and let me kind of have 2 pages to, like, if there's a fight, maybe I can extend that, or if I want to do something visually. And we did that the first couple of issues, and it seems to be working, so maybe we'll keep it going. So that was a little fun. But no, I try to mind my business for the most part. And if people don't like the story, they can just completely blame Tom. So.
Well, I mean, we heard that one before, because I seem to remember you saying the nicest compliment anyone ever gave you was at a convention, and they basically reamed Tom out for Heroes, I think it was for Heroes in Crisis. Terrible story and awful and destroying these characters, but then they turned to you and went, killer art though.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not feel amazing about that?
Yeah, I mean, with conventions and so forth, obviously the way the world has sort of changed now. Do you miss being able to engage with the fans, a la convention season, or, are you happy having the time to craft the series, as you say, and then, engage with fans knowing it was done? And, did the lack of conventions take a little bit of pressure off, or is that just something as a creator you just really miss engaging with the fans?
If we're talking fans specifically, I think it's fine. I'm not doing cons because I don't really have a new book out. I do miss the creator side. Like, I miss seeing, my peers and people I work with, because just, texting and emailing is just not the same. But if I had a book out for sure, I could see. I don't like. I know like Mitch and Doc have their book coming out, and they're not able to like see the fans and the reaction to it. And I gotta imagine that stinks a little bit. So, but there's not gonna be cons when my book comes out anyway either. So I guess it will be a little weird. But
yeah, you could always try the virtual ones.
No thanks. I mean, I think you guys can see on this how spectacular at it I would be. So, yeah.
You're sounding pretty good, Clay. Don't worry. Obviously, with things like cons have taken a dive because obviously we're all inside, and certainly I've had the experience working from home for the past 6 months. But how has it been from your point of view working for DC this year, and indeed sort of working with Tom and Batcat, given the travel restrictions and the working restrictions, lots of Skype calls and that sort of thing, is it? Or
I mean, again, it's kind of normal. I just not getting like the occasional trip and meeting these guys in person. But like, I'm in a group chat with like Mitch and Doc or Evan, whatever you want to call them, and Seth and Tom, my brother Seth and Tom. And so we're talking every day or listening. But again, it's just not the same, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we talk every day. That was more than it was before the pandemic. But
the same here with my Coffee and Heroes brothers. It's not the same on Skype. It's better when we're in person with a couple of beers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so staying on Batcat. We're all huge fans of the Batman the Animated Series. So how does it feel to be introducing Phantasm into DC Comics continuity? Is that a pleasure, or is it a bit of a weight on your shoulders?
No, it's not really a weight. It wouldn't be happening if I didn't beg for it. So I kind of asked for it. I mean, I think Dan DiDio asked me like a couple years ago, like what I would want to do, and I remember saying that's what I want to do. And he said if you guys want to pitch it, go ahead. And so I was always bugging Tom, and he's like, sure. And I remember him wanting to like throw it into an issue or two when he was going to 100, and I was like, I don't want to waste it on one issue. It's exciting. And I also I love that no one's really drawn her in comics, because I don't have to there's almost no pressure that way. Because if I'm drawing Batman or Superman, I'm thinking God, Jim Lee's so much better, or another character. I just see another artist, and so in that way I'm really enjoying it. So it's way easier than Batman and Catwoman and all that stuff.
Clay, tell me this: what other than Phantasm, what characters do you really love to draw? When you sit down at the table, what's exciting you?
In this book, or just in general? It's probably
yeah, whatever, man.
I don't know. I'm not really a favorite character kind of guy. I like to move around. I like to jump around. I like to do things. I remember on Heroes in Crisis, I just loved drawing Booster Gold. I didn't know who he was, and I never drew him, and it was just fun. But I don't want to draw Booster Gold right now because I'm over it. But I just kind of jump around and switch around. So right now it is Phantasm that I'm really enjoying. Yeah. I designed some new costumes, and I'm trying to learn that on the page. And Helena, or I don't even know really how to pronounce it, Helena Wayne, she's in the book, and she has a new costume that I don't even know if I like, but I gave it to her. And it's fun drawing people I've never drawn before, and it's nice jumping around different characters. So
yeah, I mean, would it be fair to say that, I know obviously you're your own harshest critic, but would it be fair to say that the piece that you possibly enjoyed drawing the most was that Heroes in Crisis cover, because there were such a wide variety of characters on there, plus you got to draw Tom in the background, of course?
I don't even think he cared. I like seeing it when it first got colored. I hate it black and white, but no, it's fun. Like, that's the thing I do like about DC. Like, I just didn't care about DC growing up, except for, the cartoons. So it is very often I'm drawing a character I've never ever drawn, and it is a very nice feeling. I also have no interest in like the Avengers and things like that, and they bore me to death. I don't know why, but they do. But that's just because I didn't grow up on now.
It's okay. It's never too late to see the light. I'm still trying to drag Keith away from Marvel, but it's fine.
Yeah, come on, we're doing all right. We're to and fro, and that cover actually that you're referring to is beautiful, and I only know that because I'm sitting looking at it right now on my wall with Clay's signature on it. So thanks very much again for that, sir.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
see another print.
Yeah, I have a couple up there actually, but yeah, the framer that works in our in the same building that we're contained within, he said he was sick looking at that picture because there must have been anywhere between 50 to 70 people within a week coming in saying, "Can you frame this, please? Can you frame this, please?"
We got some stuff in common, him and I.
So, yeah, just to redirect it a wee bit back towards Backcat, I mean, I find it really interesting you're talking about how the story sort of takes place over, a short period of time. I mean, at the time, obviously, it was quite publicized that, as you said yourself, Tom's run was going to be 100 issues, and it got cut somewhat short. So with this, is he then getting to finish off everything he wanted to achieve with Backcat? I suppose what I'm asking, is this a direct follow-up to his story? Does this ignore the work that, for example, James Tynion's doing now with Game March and Jorge Jimenez? Does this just go off on its own sort of straight line, I suppose?
I mean, I want to make a joke, but I would just say if you like Tom's run and we're reading and enjoying it, then ours is the main book, and James' book is, what did he say about our book? It's not. It's not continuity, and enjoy your Joker War. I don't know. Like, people, I do get the question constantly: is it continuity? Is it continuity? And like, honestly, if you were reading Tom's run and you liked it, then this is your continuity, because obviously, the second James took over, like Batcat. Yeah, it's no more. Like, what, and in 10 years, is it really going to matter? Like, yeah. I don't know. Again, I didn't grow up DC, so every book that I'm like, oh, everyone loves this book, or oh, it's so great, it's like, that wasn't even a continuity book. But now, I'm led to believe that The Dark Knight is continuity. Like, things like that. Like, it doesn't... I'm just not one of those sticklers for that stuff, and maybe that annoys people. But it's also like, not on me. That's Tom. I just draw, whatever.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm kind of the same. I'm not a stickler for continuity. I just want good stories. And as you say, any good standalone Batman miniseries or maxi series or anything, or even Tom's Superman Up in the Sky, which I loved. It's just a great book. You don't need to know anything prior to it, and in a way, you don't need to know anything after it. So, I mean, I'm very much the same. But I must admit, when Tom stepped off the book, after such a long and seminal run, I mean, I'm a huge fan of his work, and I actually think it reads better in trades than in singles. But I expected Tynion to come in and completely change, quote, continuity, but he seems to have actually been really respectful of a lot of the groundwork Tom laid, with obviously Alfred's demise and things like that. Did you guys know anything that James Tynion was planning to do in advance, or, was it somewhat surprising he kept some of those elements in?
I mean, just as an artist, I'm really not in the loop to all that stuff. But also, I mean, Tom was writing the main book. If James takes over, he kind of has to, like, cross-weave it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm behind even reading it. I looked through it because I enjoy the artwork. But I haven't read it, so I couldn't even tell you, what the connections are or aren't.
Is there anything that you are? I know you said even at the store last time. You're not a big reader. You almost appreciate the art more. Is there anything you are reading at the moment you're enjoying, or anything that comes to mind, or is it just you're so focused on work that you just maybe focus on the art and that's enough?
It's weird. Like, I have every intention to read a bunch of stuff because I get all the books through Comixology, through DC. And, like, even, like, Three Jokers, like, I'm going to read this. And then I start looking at the pictures and I go all the way through it and I'll be like, I'll read it tomorrow. And then number 2 just came out and I did the exact same thing. I looked at all the pictures and I'm like, I'll read it later. And it never happens. Yeah. But it is because I want to do it towards the evening when I'm relaxing. And sometimes I'm just so tired. I go, one day I'll get to my list of things to read. Do you guys liking Three Jokers?
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to hear the sound of a happy, over-the-top fanboy, just listen to our last reviews podcast and my 20-minute soliloquy on it. But it's a good example. It's where
it's
were
not continuity.
Exactly. It's like that was the first thing Keith yelled at me. He was just like, I hate DC's continuity. But to me, it's continuity in that, just as you say, Batcat will follow Tom's run on Batman. This follows the New 52 Darkseid one.
How can it not be continuity? Because the whole rebirth started with the Three Jokers. It's like, I don't Keith, don't be stupid.
No, that's
a quote. That's a quote for life.
Let's just rewind there a wee second. I think the question I asked you, Alan, was what's going on, because I hadn't read any of the New 52, so I didn't know what happened before Rebirth. So I think I'm being misrepresented there a wee bit, Clay.
Well, wasn't the Three Jokers first in that Rebirth launch? That Rebirth, the literal Rebirth issue?
Yeah, so was...
I don't think your New 52 excuse works.
Yes.
Damn it. Right? Damn it.
I think he's got...
Because I didn't read New 52. Literally, like, the first comic that I started reading with an interest to work at DC was Rebirth. That was my first book. And I'm just like, I enjoyed it. But, like, I've been waiting for what the Three Jokers is, and I'm not going to just be like, oh, so DC kind of went a different direction and different creative teams, and Doomsday went probably a different way than it was going to go or end. And, like, that doesn't mean you just, like, wipe everything off the slate that happened before it. Just choose. I guess it's like a choose your path book to me.
Yeah, that's
which must annoy people. I get it.
No, I think that's a good way of looking at it. As I say, for me, storytelling is always king above any, tenuous links to continuity, I have to say.
If people like Three Jokers in 10 years from now, they'll just assume it's continuity.
Yes.
It's, that's what it was. Jerry Conway said something fairly similar recently, where if he was in charge, he would burn continuity down. He would start from the start again and ignore continuity. And isn't that the sort of thing he was chatting about, Alan?
Yeah, a little bit. He was talking about streamlining and cutting down the amount of titles that are produced and giving prestige titles sort of graphic novel level production values and so forth. So he made some interesting points, but there were some that were a little bit strange as well. But yeah, I mean, Three Jokers for me, it's almost a spiritual sequel to The Killing Joke. And Alan Moore never wrote The Killing Joke as being continuity, but it got absorbed in. So continuity is a weird thing. As I say, for me, story is king. Full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there any writers or artists that are on your radar at the minute, Clay? Or anybody that's jumped out at you over lockdown? Any stuff you've picked up that you're saying, oh, I'm interested in that, what that person's doing, or how that looks?
Haven't been reading much. I have my stuff that I want to read, and I made a jab at Donny Cates and Ryan the other day, and I want to read this new, Winter in Black or whatever it is, King in Black, but I'll probably get it and look through it, but I hope I have time to read it. That's just usually how it pans out. I'm pretty off the radar with what's going on. My brother usually fills me in, and so.
Well, I mean, if you're looking forward to King in Black, then you're fairly on the radar there. That was only announced, properly in this month's previews, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
It's
it was
my rival.
It was announced about 6 months ago, so it's
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well, hey, Batcat's got the one up on King and Black. It was announced a long time ago. So
exactly. That was plenty of time to get that hype train rolling.
yeah. So Clay, so you're coming to an end working on Batcat. What's next? Are you going to take a break, or are you going to jump right into something else, something creator owned, perhaps?
I mean, I'll be working on Batcat for almost a year, so that's far away. But who knows? I mean, I definitely have interest in creator owned, but I guess it depends what. If the book does well and they offer me something I can't turn down or something like that, I'll probably stick around. But if not, if it was today, I would probably go do something creator owned.
What would that thing that they would offer you that you couldn't turn down be, Clay?
Same thing everyone would say. Probably money.
That's fair. I mean, just on that with DC at the moment, you've got a poster portfolio coming out soon from DC. I mean, is that a creative process that you're involved in at all, in terms of picking the content for the portfolio, or is it a case of DC saying, we own all your pictures, we're just going to put this book out?
It was weird. I stumbled across it on the internet, and I thought it was fake. So no one told me it was going to happen. And then I was just like, oh, that's cool if it's real, because I still didn't think it was. And then, I think I saw on Amazon or something. And then, months and months ago. And then, I would say, maybe a month or two ago, they did reach out with a list of what they were planning to put into it. And I definitely had some comments on that in hopes that I got some in and some... I wanted some of the Batcat stuff to be in there, but since it hadn't been published, it was kind of no. So that's I'm a little bummed about, because there's some covers that I just hate that I did, but some people like them probably.
That just means you get a second poster portfolio book once Batcat comes out.
I mean, I do think it's amazing I even have one. So.
Well, that's it. You're in some great company for it. In the last couple of years, there's been Frank Cho, there's been Jim Lee. There's been Stanley Archer Lau. I mean, that's pretty good company to be in, I have to say.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they just don't they could just be like, hey, we're making a poster portfolio for you, and realize how cool that is. But no one ever tells you. It's just kind of funny.
That's when you know you've made it. They don't tell you things, they just do it.
No, I don't think I made it, but I think I drew them. I think I drew enough covers to get on a checklist for a poster book.
It's well deserved anyway. You're absolutely gorgeous looking artist. So I think it's deserved anyway.
Are you talking about the art or the artist there, Roddy? The way you worded that
both.
was
both.
That was both, interesting.
Yeah. From the pictures I've seen, I've never met him in person, Alan, unfortunately, but maybe next time.
I've gained so much weight during quarantine.
All right. Well,
we absolutely loved your post the other day about with the back and forth with Donny Cates the other day over the Venom and different bits and pieces. Yeah.
It's so funny though. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Joke?
Yeah, I remember.
So,
yeah.
I thought he tweeted that 6 months ago, and then when no one was getting the joke, I'm like, I gotta find this tweet because I know he said it, and it said 2018, and I was like, holy moly! I wanted to have some fun with them. I didn't really. I was told that I should have put little emoji faces and stuff in it, but my sense of humor is a little more dry than that. So
yeah, I did see that he retweeted it and put a little sort of thinking face emoji, but I get the impression Donny Cates is one of those guys that has a good sense of humor, the way he plays around in his podcast with Chip Zdarsky and Rand Stegman, and I think he got the joke, but I think, yeah, you're right, I think a lot of other people were, as you say, they look for an excuse to sort of complain almost, but I thought it was very funny. I really liked it. So.
The next day, there was a 17-minute video on YouTube. And he just thinks I'm completely serious and then telling me, like, this is like what a guy with a small, like, penis would do. And I'm just like, it's a joke.
Oh, man. Some people take stuff too seriously.
That's Twitter for you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you're going to answer about this, but tell you what, though, you could bury the Twitter hatchet.
So you asked what I would do after a Batcat, and I was like, money, you know. But I was listening to the amazing legend Rob Liefeld's podcast, and you know, he had the whole thing in there about these crossovers. One of these episodes. Do you listen to it? Did you listen to it, Alan?
I have not. I must admit, but on your recommendation, I will add it to the list because I do listen to a lot of podcasts.
He just went through the history of it, and it made me think of the Amalgam books again, and I'm just like, that would make it would just. Well, everyone would buy it. I just don't see a negative to it. And I'm like, man, I'm going to beg to do that when I'm done with Batcat. And I thought there was some talk of it a few months ago. And I'm like, I got bummed because I'm like, man, I'm stuck on Batcat. I would want to do something on that.
What was the Batman one? The Batman Wolverine? Was that Dark Claw?
Dark Claw, yeah.
I mean, the idea, like, I don't know. But it doesn't even have to be like the Amalgam. It could just be like, why can't there just be some team up books?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I think it just sounds fun. You know,
it was the Stegman podcast. It was the Ryan Stegman's podcast. Donny Cates was interviewing Scott Snyder, and they said they decided that they were gonna kick off the next arc of Marvel versus DC. I think that's maybe where it came from. I can't. That would be
came from and went nowhere.
Great. Well, not yet, but you know. Let's keep building. Let's keep building.
No, I hope it keeps building for a year so I can be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I suppose it just comes down to possibly ego, but you know, Keith and I read a really great book recently, which was all about like the 50-year rivalry between Marvel and DC, and the amount of times like a JLA Avengers book almost got off the ground, but then for a petty reason didn't. But I'm on your side. There's no downside. Just make it a 6-issue, self-contained miniseries.
I learned all that. Done. I learned all that in the Rob Liefeld Amazing Legend Himself podcast.
Does he do a podcast on how to draw feet at all?
Does he do a podcast about drawing feet? I don't think that was mentioned. He went into Captain America's chest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I have to change my opinion, of course, at some point, I'm sure. But no, I'll definitely give it a listen. He comes across as a really interesting guy. That's the thing. It's just the last thing I saw Rob in was there's this really great documentary called 25 Years of Image Comics, So Much Damage. And I think they painted him in a really bad light because he was the youngest one who helped set it up. And they painted him a little bit as like the wild child and doing this and that behind the scenes, and he was responsible for different things. Can
I ask something?
Ask away.
Do you know how old he was when this dude was making millions of dollars and like got Image, and then they came to him with Heroes Reborn? Like, do you realize how this guy was a boy?
Yeah,
a kid.
He was 9.
We would all.
Yeah, I think he was 20. Was he when he started Image? 2021.
Yeah, I'm just like I just find it fascinating because he goes into like the contracts. He's saying like he's admitting that he's getting millions of dollars, and it's just like it's fascinating to me because it's nothing like comics that I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's depressing, is what it is. It's like no, I know people who be like, oh, he climaxed and he just lives off his, you know, he was a one-hit wonder and he's just living off that. And I'm like, isn't that the life though? Like, just to relax and just like, you know, he shows pictures of his houses and he looks modest. He looks like he's a great family guy. And so what? He made his millions when he was a kid, and he's like, who cares if he's living off his Deadpool? Like, who cares? The guy did it right when he was young, and
I think
you can't deny it. Can't deny it.
I think we found who your collaborator is going to be for this JLA Avengers book.
I didn't say that.
But is it continuity though?
I find him fascinating.
No, that's fair. As I say,
but people just don't tell stories like he does.
Yeah.
Like, I just like the inside stuff, and some people say it's not true, but like, I don't care. Like, I watch movies; they're not true. I'm just listening to it and enjoying it.
That's fair.
I love the fact that that your rivalry with Alan over Rob Liefeld has extended across a year and an ocean.
Yeah, just
I feel honored that I annoyed you so much with that you've been waiting a year to unload that on me. So I feel privileged to have made an impact on your life. Let's put it that way.
Do you not like his art and him as a person? It sounds like.
This is going into a whole new podcast. I'm not a fan of his art. I will say that. But as you say, it was a different time in the 90s. It was a different.
In the 90s, you weren't a fan either.
I can't think of anything I've read of his recently. I tried to read Major X, and I wasn't.
Oh no, not now.
Yeah.
In the 90s, you didn't like his art?
How can I diplomatically put this? I don't own. Let me put it this way: I don't own one graphic novel that he drew.
Now or then?
Now.
Did you own it then?
No. I was a DC guy, and he did a lot of stuff for Marvel. Yeah, I mean, I've read Deadpool and bits and pieces here and there, but...
I didn't. I could care less about Deadpool, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but Cable, the stuff he did on Cable...
No, dude, Cable, Strife, the New Mutants, all that stuff, I was all into that.
And his interpretation of the Avengers and Heroes Reborn was interesting as well.
That was an amazing podcast. I loved it.
I 100% will listen to that in your recommendation.
I don't even know if I want to remake. I'm saying it was fascinating to me.
No, but genuinely, like I'm the same. I like seeing insights to the industry. As I say, if you haven't seen that Image documentary, I just think the way it was put together, they almost paint him as the bad guy. You know?
Yeah, the Heroes Reborn one, like he goes into his contracts, he goes into, Jim Lee being like almost like taking over Marvel, and he's talking about lawsuits they have against him and how he won them, and oh my God, it's amazing. Like, it's like, I don't know. I think it's just good fun.
Yeah, I mean that was really that Cable stuff and that New Mutant stuff. I mean, Cable remains, even 90s, all the pouches, all the big guns. Cable remains, one of my favorites. Like so yeah, no, absolutely with you. So you were saying, Clay, that like the rest of us over lockdown, you've maybe put on a wee bit of weight and those sorts of things. But I mean, the rest of us, we've all been binging Netflix and that sort of thing. Anything on Netflix standing out for you over the lockdown period?
These past few months, just a blur. Name something.
Did you watch Watchmen?
No, I started to. I can also confess I've never even read Watchmen.
Okay, this conversation is over. Cut the mic.
My God, you have a problem with no feet. I tried reading that book years ago, and I'm like, why are there so many words?
You're pulling out my soul here, Clay. You're pulling out my soul. I read that book at least once a year. That's one of my Bible books, I have to say.
When I tell people I got in the 90s and only went forward, they do lose some respect for me.
Well, I always say the same thing. If we all like the same thing, the world would be a boring place.
Yeah, I could like it. I probably would get way more out of it now as an adult than when I tried reading it in the past.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a future podcast 3 months down the line. You're going to read Watchmen. I'm going to read the 90s Rob Liefeld omnibus, and we're going to compare notes.
I don't even think I read it as a kid. Just look at the art.
Fair. That's fair. You'd mentioned your brother Seth earlier. One of my favorite stories when you were in the store was about how, you guys collaborated on a cover. I think it was for Marvel, and you signed your name, the Man Boys, and they really didn't take too kindly for it. Can we see the Man Boys on a cover again anytime soon?
He doesn't really ink me anymore. Maybe inside a cover. I don't know. That's he. He dabbles in writing, and we talk about doing something together too. So even that might be something creator owned. I think of in the future. Do something with my brother. Keep it in the family. So we'll see. We'll see.
And then I had one final question. I don't know if the guys will jump in with another question after this, but I have to ask this, although I fear what the answer is going to be, and it's probably going to have a Rob Liefeld poster in the window. But can we expect to see a Coffee and Hero store in Backcat in Gotham City with a Rob Liefeld poster appearing here today?
Oh, can you see your store in the book?
Yeah. You have our blessing on audio to use our logo. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I could probably do that somewhere.
Because I have joked ever since the signing, because we sort of chatted about it. I don't know if you'll remember, but we sort of chat about it a little bit. And I said, oh, you could draw the store into the book. And you said, oh, I haven't thought about that. I don't know, maybe you were just being nice. But I've joked with everybody that if like Batcat came out and you saw like Coffee and Heroes in the background, I would just close the store because I've officially completed comics, because we would be part of Batman's canon. So
I can do that for you for sure. That's easy. Unless they put a word balloon over it. They always do that kind of thing.
Oh, that would be it. I would just say I still wouldn't care. It would be like,
I'm smarter than that though. If I did it, I wouldn't do it in just one panel. I'd make sure, unless it was super obvious. But no, I can do that. I'll do that. I have enough.
You could have Keith outside being grumpy at Christmas. Scrooge.
Oh.
I can do that.
We have that now on record, guys. So that has to be it. So, yeah, cool. I mean, that's pretty much all the questions we had sort of wrote down. As I say,
and we've taken an hour of your time now at this stage.
Yeah, I feel a bit guilty.
Okay. When Batcat is late, blame yourselves.
I look forward to you telling, stories and interviews of how you had to go and sit outside a hotel to get Wi-Fi to talk to these people who wouldn't leave you alone. So,
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I hope everything goes well for you over the next few months, and we're certainly thinking about you over there in that crazy part of the world. And I hope you come out the other end all right.
Yeah. Just skip ahead. That's all I want to do.
That's fair. Well, as I say, we really, really appreciate your time sort of coming on and chatting to us. People do genuinely still speak about that event in the store as, just one of the best times we've had in the store. So it was, it's hard to believe a year's passed, but yeah, it was a wonderful time and it was great talking to you again, man. So as I say, really, really appreciate it.
No, same here. I still talk about that with my friends, and yeah, it was great. Restaurant, everything.
I was glad I was finally able to get a bottle of whiskey too, because it still breaks my heart to this day. I went through so much effort. The bottle we gave you on the evening.
I was so mad.
Not
mad as I get mad. Just I guess I was disappointed because part of me was like, man, I should have just broke that thing open. Because at least like one sip would have been more enjoyment than getting the empty box.
I can't believe they sent you the box but took the whiskey. I went through so much trying to... I didn't know you couldn't post alcohol in the post. My naivety, I suppose, but
No, but and just to leave the Guinness, by the way, I mean, I love the Guinness and I probably would have liked it better than the whiskey, but, I know a lot of people who like it.
Well, I was glad I was able to get a bottle to you in the end anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that one.
It is whiskey, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'm not good with my liquors.
Oh, that's grand.
That's Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch, if he doesn't open up his own distillery at some point, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah.
He's already designed about 100 labels for bottles, so yeah, I think we'll see that at some point, I have to say. But yeah, as I say, we'll not keep you any longer. Cheers again for this. I'm sorry that it was so much sort of effort for you in terms, I know you were having trouble with your Wi-Fi and different things, so we really appreciate the effort you went to.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah, good to talk to you again, Clay.
Same here, guys.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Hope that was okay.
We're all
Nah,
good.
it was great.
Cheers.
We'll do it again when a couple issues come out and you can ask me some real questions
I'll
that I can answer.
have my Rob Liefeld questions ready.
Okay.
Cheers
You could
again.
do a variant cover or something, you know?
Oh God, please do. No. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
What did you say?
Roddy said, "Oh, you could get Rob to do a variant cover for
Wait.
Backcat," and before I could even realize
Can
what
you
I was
guys
saying.
do a retailer exclusive with him?
There you go.
You put me in contact with him. We'll see what we can do.
That'll be our next interview. We'll get him on.
Right, we really will say goodbye now.
Right.
Cheers again, Clay.
Yeah, thank you, Clay.
All right. See you guys.
See you,
All
pal.
right, man. Take care.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe.
Bye.
All right.
You too.